Right now, as you watch this, New York City is in the middle of the most ambitious construction boom in its history. We're not talking about one or two impressive projects. We're talking about $60 billion actively reshaping Manhattan's skyline and infrastructure. Engineers are building islands that generate their own power, constructing entire neighborhoods over active railroad tracks while trains thunder beneath them every 60 seconds. And yes, they're even designing skyscrapers that appear to be built completely upside down, defying every fundamental principle of gravity and structural engineering. These aren't just construction projects. They're engineering marvels that are rewriting the rules of what's physically possible in urban development. And the most mind-bending part, the number one project on this list involves rebuilding America's busiest transportation hub without ever closing it down, not even for a single minute. It's like performing open-heart surgery on a marathon runner while they're running the marathon at full speed. Let's count down the 5 most jaw-dropping megaprojects currently transforming New York City in 2026. Number 5. The New York Climate Exchange. Imagine taking a 172-acre island in the middle of New York Harbor and transforming it into the world's first living laboratory specifically designed to reverse engineer climate change. Not study it, not talk about it, actually reverse it. That's the New York Climate Exchange on Governor's Island, and groundbreaking is happening this fall. This isn't your typical research center. This is a $700 million fortress of sustainability built on one radical question. Can we redesign our cities to actually heal the planet instead of destroying it? The engineering approach is unlike anything attempted before. The exchange features 2 completely electric buildings constructed from mass timber, sustainable wood that literally pulls carbon out of the atmosphere and locks it away instead of releasing it. These buildings are connected by a massive curving solar canopy that generates enough electricity to power the entire research complex with energy left over. But here's where it gets truly revolutionary. This facility will become the first in New York City to meet the Living Building Challenge, meaning it produces more energy than it consumes, treats 100% of its own wastewater on site, and diverts 95% of its waste from landfills. In other words, it's not just carbon neutral, it's actually giving back more than it takes. The numbers are staggering: 400,000 square feet of research space, 600 post-secondary students, 4,500 K-12 students, 6,000 workforce trainees every single year, over 2,200 union jobs created, $1 billion in economic impact for the region. And here's the critical detail that reveals the true ambition of this project. The entire campus has been elevated 8 feet above current sea level. Why? Because this building is designed to outlast the climate crisis itself. When coastal cities around the world start drowning from rising oceans, this facility will still be standing, still be functioning, still be researching solutions while proving that survival is possible. Construction breaks ground in fall 2026, with completion scheduled for fall 2029. The question isn't whether this works. The question is whether every coastal city on Earth will copy this template to survive the next century. Number 4. Hudson Yards Phase 2. Hudson Yards Phase 1 was already the largest private real estate development in American history. 30 floors of retail, office towers piercing the clouds. The vessel. Love it or hate it, it was a monument to human ambition. But Phase 2 makes Phase 1 look like a warm-up exercise. We're talking about $12 billion, not million, billion, making Hudson Yards a $32 billion total investment, the most expensive private development ever undertaken in the United States. Construction officially began in June 2025, and what they're building is nothing short of extraordinary. Phase 2 includes 3 super-tall skyscrapers, an 80-story residential tower soaring 1,189 feet, a 1,366-foot office colossus. This phase will add 1,400 new homes with at least 400 permanently affordable units, over 2 million square feet of office space, a 5.6-acre park the size of Bryant Park, a new K-8 public school, and a daycare center. This translates to 35,000 construction jobs during development, 5,000 permanent positions, and nearly $500 million in annual tax revenue flowing into city coffers. But here's the engineering miracle that defies comprehension. The entire neighborhood is being constructed on a massive platform built directly over active Long Island Railroad tracks. Imagine this. You're building an entire city district, skyscrapers reaching over 1,300 feet, parks, schools, homes for thousands of people, while trains carrying hundreds of thousands of commuters rush beneath your feet every single minute of every single day without interruption. You can't pause the trains. You can't slow them down. You can't ask commuters to take a different route. The trains must keep running while you build an entire neighborhood on top of them. The entire project targets completion between 2030 and 2032. By then, Hudson Yards will have fundamentally transformed 28 acres of Manhattan's West Side from abandoned rail yards into a thriving, sustainable, net-zero energy neighborhood designed for the next century. Number 3. Affirmation Tower, 1,663 feet tall, 90 stories, 2 million square feet, and Manhattan's tallest structure by roof height, surpassing even Central Park Tower. And it's built completely upside down. Every skyscraper you've ever seen in your entire life follows one fundamental, unbreakable rule of physics and engineering. Start wide at the bottom, taper as you rise. It's basic structural science. It's how gravity works. It's how buildings don't collapse and kill everyone inside them. Affirmation Tower looks at that rule and asks, what if we did the exact opposite? The tower features a striking inverted design with stacked blocks that cantilever successively outward as the building rises. It expands 5 times from its narrow base, meaning the upper levels are dramatically larger than the lower ones. The narrowest part of the building is at the bottom. The widest part is at the top. Would you walk into that building? Would you trust your life to a structure that defies everything we know about how skyscrapers stay standing? Designed by renowned architect Sir David Adjaye, the genius behind the National Museum of African American History and Culture. This 2 million square foot tower uses progressive cantilever engineering with vertical stone bands wrapping the facade, creating a pixelated effect when viewed from a distance that looks like science fiction made real. It will house 2 hotels, office space, an observation deck, an ice skating rink, and the new NAACP headquarters. It's projected to create 30,000 jobs over 6 years, 15,000 permanent positions, and $5 billion in tax revenue over 3 decades. And here's what makes this truly historic. If constructed, Affirmation Tower will become the first skyscraper in Manhattan built by a majority black-owned development team, including the Peebles Corporation and McKissack, the oldest minority and women-owned design construction firm in the United States, a team making history by defying gravity itself. The project is currently on hold, waiting for regulatory approval. If this gets green-lit, this gravity-defying colossus will prove that sometimes the best way to reach new heights is to flip everything we know upside down. Before we continue, if you're finding these megaprojects as mind-blowing as I am, hit that subscribe button so we can reach 10,000 subscribers. Drop a comment below telling me which project you find most impressive, and let's keep this conversation going. Now, let's get to the final 2 projects that are even more ambitious. Number 2. Port Authority Bus Terminal. It's the world's busiest bus terminal. Built in 1950. 75 years later, it serves over 250,000 passenger trips on a busy weekday, and it's literally falling apart. Commuters call it an eyesore, a nightmare, confusion at its finest with bathrooms so disgusting people avoid them entirely, and a design so confusing that even regular daily users get lost. But here's the nightmare scenario facing engineers. the impossible problem that makes this one of the most complex megaprojects in New York City right now. You need to completely demolish and rebuild a terminal processing more than 250,000 people per day without ever shutting it down, without canceling a single bus route, without disrupting service to New Jersey commuters who depend on it for their livelihoods. And the new terminal needs to be built partially over active Lincoln Tunnel approaches and rail yards where trains continue operating 24/7. The Port Authority secured a $1.89 billion federal loan to construct an interim terminal that will temporarily house bus operations, while the main terminal is demolished and rebuilt. This facility later transitions to permanent bus storage, removing 300 idling buses from Manhattan streets. Phase 1 includes building deckovers above below-grade portions of Dyer Avenue and the Lincoln Tunnel Expressway. They're creating new land out of thin air over active roadways, while traffic flows beneath at highway speeds. These decks will eventually become 3.5 acres of public green space. The total investment is $10 billion. This will create 2.1 million square feet of terminal space, a 5-story main terminal building designed by legendary architect Norman Foster, a storage facility holding 350 buses up from just 50 currently, and a massive helix-shaped ramp system connecting directly to the Lincoln Tunnel. This will increase capacity from 600 buses per hour to over 1,000, create 6,000 good-paying union jobs, and accommodate New Jersey Transit's new all-electric net-zero emissions bus fleet with 21st-century technology throughout. But here's the most challenging detail that reveals the true complexity. Modern buses are 45 feet long and 102 inches wide, significantly larger than the buses the 1950 terminal was designed for. They're not just rebuilding a terminal. They're reimagining it for vehicles that didn't even exist when the original was constructed. Construction officially broke ground in June 2025, with the first phase completion set for 2029 and the new main terminal completion in 2032. And they're pulling it off without ever closing a single bus route. Not one. Number 1. Empire Station Complex, 650,000 passengers every single day. That's more people than New York's 3 major airports combined flowing through one train station. Penn Station, America's busiest train station and the beating heart of Northeast Corridor rail travel, and it's suffocating under its own success. The Empire Station Complex is a multi-billion-dollar vision to completely reimagine Penn Station and transform 6 entire city blocks around it. The plan includes 20 million square feet of mixed-use space, 10 new buildings, 8 development sites spanning from 30th to 34th Streets, 8 new underground tracks to increase capacity by 40%, and 5 super-tall skyscrapers ranging from 1,000 to 1,300 feet in height. The integrated complex could serve 830,000 daily passengers by 2038. But here's the crisis that makes this the ultimate engineering nightmare. Penn Station was designed for 40,000 people per hour. As of 2015, it was handling 65,000. That's 62.5% overcapacity. Without intervention, by 2032, it could reach 375% overcapacity. The station isn't just old, it's drowning in its own passengers. Now imagine this impossible engineering challenge. You need to renovate the world's busiest train station while keeping it fully operational with more than 1,000 daily train movements across Amtrak, New Jersey Transit, and the Long Island Railroad, all using 21 tracks simultaneously. There is no pause button, no shutdown, no break. You cannot close Penn Station. It would cripple the entire Northeast Corridor economy. Millions of people depend on it every single week. It's like rebuilding a 747 mid-flight while passengers are still boarding, while it's traveling at cruising altitude, while people's lives depend on it staying in the air without a single second of downtime. In August 2025, The U.S. Department of Transportation and Amtrak announced construction will begin by the end of 2027, with Amtrak taking the lead. The project has faced fierce opposition from community groups and local lawmakers, with concerns about demolishing 6 blocks of buildings and displacing residents. But one thing is undeniable: something must be done. When complete, Empire Station Complex won't just be a train station. It will be an interconnected megahub with soaring atriums flooded with natural light, 30 new escalators and elevators, a 30,000 square foot public plaza, and a transportation cathedral rivaling Grand Central's grandeur, serving nearly 1 million people per day. The infrastructure upgrade New York desperately needs for the next century. There you have it. 5 megaprojects literally reshaping New York City as we speak. Which of these projects do you find the most impressive? Drop your answer in the comments below.